HiRevz Media is sponsored by Born to Ride Motorcycle Magazine. Check out borntoride.com. Alright guys, so had some catastrophic failure this morning on the way to work. It just went boom, just died. Couldn't make it start, couldn't start it back up. Starter sounded funny. So I was checking stuff, checking wires, whatnot, and then I literally just twisted the end of the wire like this. This one twisted and went and just fell off. That's just a dry old cap. Cap's cheap. Then realized as we could see the rotor button no longer turns. The engine turning over, we made sure we pulled the spark plug out. Pistons are going up and down, and it's just going shoo, turning over really fast, not making any compression. So that is definitely the problem, is timing belt. So it's not in time anymore. So now I gotta get it back to the house, gotta have it towed. And I already bought a timing belt kit. I just hadn't had any time to put it on, and I guess it made time for us. So if you don't make time for maintenance, it'll make time for itself. All right, guys. So back at the shop. It's been a few days. The belt actually looks like it's still in place, even though it's snapped. But look, there's a tooth missing right there. No tooth. That's a bad sign. The belt actually doesn't look bad, which is kind of surprising. I didn't expect to see it there. I expected to see it like balled up at the bottom, but there it is. But valve cover is off, and we've already done some treatment to it. So Pop got it all cleaned up and got it sprayed with some of the Wrinkle Plus. We're gonna make this thing, this is version 2.0 of the old MINTal illest car. So doing the same thing with it, the Wrinkle Blue, and then got some new blue stuff to add in here. So we have some lighter and darker blues of the anodize, get everything cleaned up, trying to make this thing look a little better. Probably wrap some of the pipes and stuff, trying to make it a little bit more presentable. So the first thing we're going to do now is start pulling everything off. Probably lift up the car, start at the bottom, and remove the support under there, that one right there. So we'll remove that engine support, start taking all the belts off, bust the crank pulley loose, and then move up to the top and start removing all of this stuff as we can. Move that engine mount there, and then the plastic covers. I'm not going to use any of the plastic covers, and if you'll notice, the valve cover, we sliced that off, so you'll actually be able to see the belt in there, be able to check on it, because you can't even inspect it with it in place. So now we'll be able to check on it, and probably going to end up changing the sprockets at some point in time. So we'll see how that goes and go from there. So anyways, that's it. Yeah, now I mean the belt's broke, so we don't have to worry about keeping it in line. But what we can do is there's a arrow on these that says up. So we're going to line those back up. We're going to make sure the crank's lined up. And then these are pins here that actually drop. You can see the hole right there. So that's on the same side where up is. So once that's up, you can literally just drop a screwdriver or a pin or something in there, and that will hold the cams in place for you, which is kind of nice if you got the valve cover off. So we'll start with that. All right, guys, the first thing I'm going to do is loosen that bolt up, and then down on the bottom, we got to loosen that one up. So that allows us to change the tension on the belt for the power steering pump. So that'll loosen that one up. That's the first one that's got to come off. And then down at the bottom, we've got our AC. And this one is not the easiest to get to, but it's down. I'm gonna drop you down in there. It's right there. You can kind of see it, the one stud sticking up. There's a nut on that stud. It's the one that's all grimy and dirty. Yeah, right. This ain't working. That's right there. So we got to loosen that one up, and then run the actual stem itself back and forth, which is not super easy to get to, but that'll loosen that one up. And then the alternator is back here, and you got a top bolt on it to loosen, and probably some kind of adjustment or one on the bottom that we'll have to move to get that one to move. So get those belts out of the way first, get the crank pulley busted loose, start trying to take off plastic covers, and then we'll move up here. All right, guys, power steering belt is off. Now onto the AC belt. Again, that's the stem we've got to loosen there, the nut at the bottom, and then adjust the stem. And then it actually has its own tensioner pulley, which is that pulley down right there. Let's see, right there. And then that nut, which is, let's see here, right under there. We might have to loosen that one up to get everything to relax and drop down, but that's the next belt. And it is wrapped around that right there, which is the support, engine support. They don't even actually call it a mount, but it's an engine support. So it is wrapped around it. So we'll have to take that off to get that belt off. All right, so now we're trying to break loose the bolt, or the nut rather, down low. And then we can adjust the stem, and hopefully that'll work. This AC belt is completely roached. It's actually still working a little bit, but it squealed big time for a while. So we've got a new AC belt to go on, as well as everything to do the timing belt. So we'll get that adjusted out of the way, pull the mount off. Ooh, it feels terrible too. So, and then the alternator. All right, so the AC belt is off, and that tensioner bolt right here was awful. There's one little spot you can get into with a wrench, and I had to use two 12 millimeters and then link them together just to be able to pry it as hard as I could, and it went pow, finally broke loose, and then I was able to loosen it more and pop the belt off. Now the belt's still hanging. Got to get that motor mount loose at the bottom, the support mount. So it's got to be busted loose, and then we're about to drain the radiator because we're going to change the water pump and all that good stuff too. So get all that done. All right, guys, get the wheel off. Got it up on the lift. Went ahead and just took this loose for a little bit for now. Got the belt all the way off, and then the alternator belt. This is your pivot point, and then there's another bolt up on top up there. That's where it actually moves back and forth to adjust the tension. So we'll need to drop it back down some, loosen that one, and bring it in after we crack this one loose. And then all of those will be done. And then we've got the tool, and you really want to get the tool to hold some tension against this. Sometimes you even have to like put it against the floor. It's like a hex, but it's the outside part that leaves you with a hole in the middle. Here's the dumb thing though, is the kit that I got off of Amazon, and other people said the same thing. The socket they send you does not fit inside the tool. So you got a socket that's useless. I mean, it's the strongest 19 millimeter socket you've ever seen in your life, but it won't fit in. So it'd have to be milled to actually be used, which is kind of ridiculous. But as long as you've got some really good impact sockets like these. So let's see here. Yeah, 19's over there. Anyway, it looks about like that. It's about that thickness. The other one I'll show you in a second is like this thick. I mean, it is just massive. So as long as you got some regular impact sockets, should be fine. You don't want to use chrome ones because you probably break it. Because these things are insane. I mean, they're like 900 foot-pounds by the time they get hot and cold over and over again. I mean, they're insane. Greg and I spent like a week one time just trying to get one busted loose on that Acura, if y'all remember that. So it took forever. So now though, we got these Milwaukees here. Look at this dude. So this is regular size Milwaukee Impact, and then it goes a little bit bigger, and then look at this beast. We just got this thing. Daddy just got it. It's insane. I mean, that thing is a beast. So it'll break loose anything, and maybe even break stuff. So it's like, what was this? How many? Like 17 or 1800 foot-pound of torque. I know that this one's 1400.
Yeah, I think it's 16.
It's 1600. Yeah, golly, but it looks huge, don't it? So, anyways, free shout out to Milwaukee for making amazing stuff, because we have used the crap out of them. Even the big rig style wheels on the motorhome, busted those things loose like they're nothing. So, and we just use them on this. I mean, we couldn't get it a budge with a smaller one, put the bigger one on it. It was blah, blah, and they were just gone. So I'm curious to see how fast this goes. We'll film it and see how fast it does it. So I'm curious about that. So anyways, let's get the alternator belt off and then we'll try it. All right, guys, this is the piece I was talking about. So that gives you plenty of room to get in there and get the bolt normally. Look at this thing. This thing is massive. That's a 19 millimeter with a huge shoulder on it, which would be nice and heavy duty if it fit. It don't even fit in this hole. It doesn't fit in here at all. So this is way too big to go in that hole. So a regular impact socket will work fine, but this allows you to hang on to this thing and pry the other way or put it against the floor and try it that way. All right, guys, this is what we've got. Daddy with the breaker bar. We've got it mounted against the mount for the useless bar. And this might work. See if this thing will bust it loose and how quick it does it. Oh, that ain't gonna work. One more time, we'll retry. No, it's got all the way in the socket up there. Good? Maybe. Let's try. Bam, look at that. That is the quickest I've ever seen a Honda crank bolt come out. Man, that was awesome. It just busted it right loose, came right out. Sweet. So definitely, you're going to have something pretty big. We even tried to use air one time. We couldn't make it work at all. But it still put some tension on it. See it, the edge of it there? Mm-hmm. Perfect. That's exactly what we needed. So now, this should come right off of here. I have to work it off, but that should pop out. It's keyed, so you don't have to worry about it being turned the wrong way. So we'll get that out of the way. All right, guys, pulley's out of the way. Went ahead and took the key out just so we don't lose it. Now I'm busting off these bolts here. There's another one kind of down in here. I'm gonna use a deep well 10 for, get that one out. And then there might be some other ones in this, but we're gonna pull this whole plastic cover off and throw it away. All right, guys, so I just figured out for sure what I was thinking. Look at this. There's why it quit running. It just started eating teeth. Look at all the teeth. Those are just teeth laying down the bottom of this thing. It just ate off enough of them. There was a bunch of them broke up there, so enough of them came off that it just started just spinning. No more turning the valves. So, pretty nasty looking. So we'll pull that belt off of there and then get to work. All right, guys, get the washer off of there. And I just laid it down to make sure I know which way it goes back on, just so that's good to go. Went in and popped it off the bottom down there, so it's just kind of hanging. Now the top is free. The only way you're gonna get this out though is get that motor mount off. So we gotta rip that motor mount out of the way, and then we can slide the new belt on. Look at that. There's like a lot of it is gone. It has been probably breaking off for a long time. But good thing this is a 2.0 CR-V. Wow. All right, guys, so there's the water pump right there. So it's kind of hard to get to because it's up in here. Gonna pull that down, pull off the tensioner pulley, maybe pull the pulley off first so it's out of the way. And then put new ones back on in there in the kit. Yeah, I'll link all this stuff in the description. Everything that we're using here is a full kit, pretty easy. So get all this stuff on there, and it's got a rubber O-ring. We'll probably put some silicone in the ring just to hold it in there, get it in place. Some water probably is going to come out from here, but most of it is drained, so it shouldn't be too bad. And then we'll get it pulled out of there. All right, guys, water pump tensioner are gone. It's nice and clean and slick in there. Pretty good bit of water came out. We were able to catch the majority of it. And now what we've done is I just dropped the bolts into the new one just so we can keep up with which ones go where. Make a little pattern just because some of them are longer than others, so you want to make sure you get the right one in the right hole. You don't want to break anything. But the old water pump is actually super smooth. It feels completely fine. I mean, I know these do go bad. The seal will break down, the bearings can mess up, but this one actually seemed okay, but it's a good idea to change it while you're doing all this. So there we go. Just pop those in, make a little pattern. Should be good. Jackson's over here getting dirty. You getting dirty?
No, all day.
So now we'll put the new water pump in, put the new seal O-ring in there, stick it in with some silicone, put the tensioner back on, and then take the motor mount on off and throw the belt on. And then put everything back. All right, guys, so we had to bump the starter to get that line lined up with the arrow, and couldn't never get it. Ended up taking all the spark plugs out, bumped it one time, and it landed on perfectly in line, which is insane. But we're gonna go with it. So that's gonna work. So now we're gonna take the motor mount out here, these 3 nuts, get that top piece out of the way, and then run the belt on. And there is a direction for the belt. Okay, so that goes frontwards like this, which means all the writing is inward, which is kind of odd, but that'll go like that, and then we'll get it lined up. And since the crank is at the line, these are locked in. Should just be able to throw the belt right on, make sure there's no slack at all through the front. All the slack can be in the back because that's where the tensioner is, and it should be in time. We'll see. But there's lugs right here. Yep, you just turn it over so you can bump the cam back and forth with this, which is kind of cool. So it's so much easier to use.
You gonna explain that?
That's what I'm doing.
Oh, you're recording it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of neat.
Well, they're already in the marks, aren't
They are in the marks, but I was just checking to make sure they were, because the belt fits, but then it doesn't fit perfectly.
we should have saw this.
I know it.
Hey, look, Jordan.
Yeah.
But I didn't look at it that close.
But see, look at this. It's got to, because even though there's holes in here to line them up perfectly, these aren't standing straight up. So there's I'm thinking it goes like this.
Yeah, because you're right. I mean, it's in the groove.
Yeah.
And it's gonna change a little
Right.
as
everything gets tighter. So there's a little bit of looseness here, but we'll know for sure when we get it on all the way.
Yeah.
And we pull the screwdrivers out. But that's cool. That's a cool thing there.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we got the belt on the crank pulley, and you don't want any tension through here. You kind of keep that tight. You got it locked in, and then you got to work the belt over the top of these at the same time. It's pretty tight, but you want everything at the bottom where you want it to be, and everything should be pretty lined up. These are still pretty much lined up. The line at the bottom is still pretty much lined up, so we should be good. And now we're gonna rotate the crank just a little bit to make sure all this is nice and tight, and then we're gonna tighten up the tensioner, and then put the crank pulley back on and everything else. So just like we took it off, we're putting it back on. All right, the crank pulley is back on, bolts back in. Everything looks good on the belt. So now we're gonna turn the motor over some and make sure everything's jiving right from what we can see. And then we'll probably throw the plugs back in it and see if it'll actually fire and run like this. And then as long as that'll work, we'll put everything back on. All right, so now we're gonna see if it'll fire. It's alive. Look at that. Completely fine. All right, guys, all the belts are back on in place. Everything's tightened back up. So all that's good. Motor mounts are all back in place. Now the valve cover is about to go on. So we're going to hold this turbo oil line up out of the way and see if we can slide it up under here without scratching it to pieces. Maybe. It's hanging. There it is. All right. Yeah, it's got to come up over this bolt just a little bit. There you go. All right, now, see what this looks like. Did get a new distributor cap over there because the other one like literally broke out. So that should be good. That is set down. That looks good. That looks sweet. So we've got some new stuff coming. I'm actually a dealer for VMS now through HiRevz. So probably going to be adding some VMS parts to our store, HiRevzGarage.com. So we'll be throwing some stuff on there hopefully pretty soon as we get time to add parts on there for sale. But we got some blue hose and some other good stuff, silicone hose there. We're going to end up replacing some of those. Got some VMS wires coming in. Got some gears there, some cam gears, and a few other things we got ordered for this thing. It's going to look pretty good, and we're going to clean it because it looks really, really dirty. So we'll clean it and then do all that later. So this is the rest of the kit. You got these little rubber washer pieces that go in here, and we'll get those bolts down. Oh yeah, that's one of the things is some VMS nuts that go on top of these that look really nice. So that should work. All right, guys, so we really haven't had time to clean it yet, but went ahead and put some of the blue hoses on just because I need to replace a few of them. So got some new hoses on there. Gonna get the other blue stuff in, so we'll have another video of that coming up soon.